Hey everyone, this is Zan, and welcome back to our Mekone multiplayer game. Quick reminder again, this is right when Dominion 6 came out, and everyone involved is kind of learning the new system of the game, so you might see some interesting things. We're going to be here on turn 35. We have just revealed our pretender in the last war, and we were kind of debating on who should we attack for a next war. Through a lot of, and let me actually pull up this strategic map, and through, a lot of thinking, I figured the best target might have actually been Tirnanog. As you see, they were super overextended while fighting Yomi over here. And so I happened to have some forces nearby and moved into Newland and Kestria. Obviously, he was not expecting this. The province defense was small, and it's really just some dude with gear, apparently, and a little cadre of hoplites moving in to bop the province defense. Nothing crazy other than me gearing that guy up, because why not? In case I fought some elves, he was going to light them on fire. Oh, he actually did bump up the PD a lot. Also of note, I think I guesstimated which version of the game this was running on and found someone who had the backups. And so we might actually see the battles as they had happened. You can thank Dark Side Cookies for that. He is also a YouTuber. You can check out his channel. But otherwise, I don't think much else has happened this turn other than me deciding to attack Tir and Nanog. As always, our site searching continues, and if you wish to see my luck, this was a good turn. I found 2 sites here in the Forest of Springs, nothing there, but 1 site here in the Cation Forest. And then manual searching gets me a Thunder Oak and not much else. But as you see, the gem income, if I can find the right chart, is skyrocketing, which is fantastic. And a lot of these gems are also, again, sorcery gems. Like, you can see how crazy already my death income is becoming. It is, and my astral income is plus 12. So these remote site searching, again, while expensive now, is a strong investment to the future. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on to turn 36. And so now on turn 36, we actually end up with the opposite of turn 35, in which case Tirnanog and I have a long conversation in which I let him keep Newland and Kestria, but he's going to support me in my next war. And so one of the things we talked about last episode where we were talking about war targets was maybe that some of the more obvious targets were a little too strong. But if I have a bunch of elves helping me, then maybe that isn't as much of a problem. And so I think we start plotting to attack Roose. Roose is north of Tirnanog, who has cast Mother Oak, and both my east and west. They have some thrones that I wouldn't mind taking. They have some provinces I wouldn't mind taking, like this farm in Lombaria with massive population. Overall, it just seems like a good war now that I have an ally. However, it did cost me a lot of gems. Like, look at this. So this is actually super unfortunate of a trade, gem-wise, but, once more, it is an investment toward the future of the game. And also, I feel kind of confident that I would be able to beat Tirnanog in a fight later in the game, as I don't really fear their assassins too much, considering Mekone's mages are also pretty damn good. There's also a battle here in Whispring Grove. This is Urmor attacking Saromacia, so now we know where another set of players have thrown their lot in. So we have a line of Roman, these are Hastati, these are Roman Hastati, or I say Roman, Urmorian Hastati, with their standard bearers for extra morale. They have some communion going on in the back here. I'm not sure the Urmorian Bless, let's see it. Attack skill, magic weapons, so his pretender is also already awake. Attack skill, some strength, some hit points, some spirit sight. Not the craziest bless, but this would actually kill Ubar fairly quickly, and maybe that was its intended purpose. On Saromacia's side, we have a lot of Orpada. We have some long dead horsemen in the center and regular composite bow archers, not the poison bow variety. He also brought some mages, so this is a major commitment on both sides for this early in the game. We have some super experienced Orpada, who have not been blessed yet. One of them has been blessed. And just, again, these are remnants. I don't see a lot of these blesses now, but these are kind of similar to the blesses that you would see in Dominions 5. Where these are just kind of stat blesses for your cavalry, extra attack, extra defense, blur to reduce the enemy attack, some awareness, some magic resistance to maybe patch up the Jade Lizards, but I don't know about that one, Chief. Anyways, let's see what goes on here in this stormy weather. We pop up the team colored squares, as always I forget. Oh, there is already good magic coming in then. If there's a falling fire straight to the back line, narrowly missing the Armation Communion. A lot more Falling Fires. I think once more narrowly missing the Communion. Some Astral Fires is coming out too. Unfortunately... Ooh, that was a good one too, that Astral Fires. Unfortunately, even though these evocations are devastating, I think once the lines clash, the Armori and Hastati don't really have much of a chance against the Orpada. So really, it's a race. Oh, and since there was an attack rear that just came through, that might destabilize the Communion and stop all of the evocations. The Armorians are routing, and it looks like, yeah, there was just too much cavalry for the Hastati to hold. And even though the evocations being fired off in the back here were devastating, look at that one. That was a good fireball. Even though those were some devastating evocations, it wasn't enough. Even though they were landing and actually almost hitting the commander core, it doesn't look like they were able to kill them. And once more, again, I do hope that this is how this battle played out. I do not remember. It looks like, yes, none of the commanders on Saramesha's side were actually killed, but the Augurs did do some devastating damage with their evocations. The Hastati kind of held their own, but mostly just got run over by Jade Maidens and Orpadas. That was just way too many Sacreds. Yeah, and if you even look at the gold costs of both sides, you know, you have 11 gold Hastati trying to stand up to 45 gold and 50 gold Orpada, and then even numbers, there was no chance. You would have needed another, I don't know, 300 Hastati or something like that to kind of try to even match this. So, Valiant Defense, pretty cool to watch with the new evocation graphics. And outside of that, what this turn is going to be is now, again, I'm starting to summon the Water Kobolds. I'm not sure how much in depth I got into these guys. I kind of like them for they can replicate themselves because the paths to summon them are the same paths that they start with. And if I give them boosters, they can now start site searching with the remote glamour spell. They are amphibious, stealthy, sailing leaders. Good magic leadership, good regular leadership. The only problem is, you know, kind of low hit points, low protection. But otherwise, they're pretty good. And as you see here, I have him summoning another kobold. I have my pretender crafting him a Gossamer Veil so that he can start site searching. I haven't been too crazy on the crafting, just kind of saving up my gems for the remotes and getting some sort of factory going. So I can just pump out similar gear sets that I can use. So you see I've got some Great Swords of Sharpness. Now, one interesting set of gear that we do have, and I don't remember if I crafted this, I believe I crafted this, is the Dragon Crown, because I think drakes are really strong in both Dominion games they were strong, but I feel like they're going to be more useful here in Dominion 6. And so I'm summoning fire drakes, and now I'm going to get them 2 at a time because I have this dragon helmet. And that makes the spell twice as efficient, right? And the hope here is that, okay, they're going to do this armor-piercing damage. This does scale with strength, half the wielder strength, so I can bump this up to 15. And then kind of the hope is that I paint fire resistance on my dudes to reduce this by 5. And then I bump up the armor on my dudes even more such that they can kind of survive the friendly fire that's going to come from this, right? However, if my target is I'm fighting Roose, the expectation is that the Roosian Sacreds, I'm hoping, I don't remember if I know at this point the Roosian Bless, I do. Kind of, I guess the hope was that they would not have fire resistance on their Bless, and that they would get Barkskin cast on them. So actually, it's kind of unfortunate that they do now have fire resistance. I don't remember if at the time I had realized this, because it is an Incarnate Bless, it is turn 36. So, and I'm pretty sure they did have their Pretender in prison. So at the time of me starting these Fire Drakes, I'm not sure I knew about this. And regardless, even with 10 fire resistance, it's probably still fine. But some better Drakes would have been, or a better use of my gems might not have been using these Drakes after I found out this fire resistance. Anyways, rambling over, let's move on to turn 37. Okay, and on turn 37, I keep summoning these Drakes. Unfortunately, I still haven't realized yet the Bless. I'm starting to do Haruspecs now that my Pretender was able to craft some Thistle Maces, some Auspecs, a lot more site searching. Just keep ramping up this gem income, get more Water Kobold, find more sites. A Smoke Forest sounds really cool. And then there's a battle in Ospark where I ask Ermor if I can suicide the Adventurer. And he lets me, which is cool. We have some events, but nothing too crazy. So we foresee that in 3 months, we're going to be good with evocations, not much to do there. And we're curing some battle afflictions in Mekone. Because again, we have our hoplite veterans from Ubar. They're here. They are getting tended to by this adventurer. We are crafting more boosters for the little water kobolds. And we're starting to move our forces now. Because I'm planning on elfing Roose alongside Chernanog, so that should be fun. Let me see. Part of that, I guess, we have these high priests coming out. Because they're sacred, they technically are also stealthy, so they can start doing some stealthy preaching in preparation for my forces coming in. And if you didn't know, at the time of the start of Dominion 6, there was some bug with Map Nuke where a lot of Monasteries of Light were present on the map, more than you'd really expect. And I don't mind getting the High Priests. Why not? Stealthy Preachers is all good. You see, almost all my commands here are stealthy, which is kind of cool. Up here, it looks like I'm just recruiting these Archons. I like these guys as the battle mages for the nation. They are also going to be stealthy. But because they just get some consistently good paths. We're stacking up here on our capital in preparation for the fight. But mostly we're just kind of consolidating now that we've taken Ubar and we want to use the resources that we've gathered from Ubar. So I'll go ahead and flash the gem income again, and we'll keep moving quickly through these turns until we get to some action, right? But you notice that now my site searching has become a lot more, like if you look at Pustinian Broken Land, it's a lot more full. We're just missing here the nature, glamour, and eventually blood. But blood's kind of a pain in the butt to get into without anything. So I was kind of hoping that maybe I'd get lucky, some streamer luck or something, and get the Zots with the blood magic. But unfortunately, it hasn't happened, right? We see that Roose does have some bears on our TNG side, which is kind of unfortunate. I was kind of hoping to just focus on fighting near their capital. It looks like he has stolen Mother Oak from Chernanog, so it's like double so that Chernanog wants to help me fight Roose, which is kind of cool. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next turn. And so we're going to skip actually one turn and go straight to turn 39. Because although nothing is really happening right now, we spot that Roose has declared war on Saramatia. So now those two are fighting, which means once Chernanog actually, get off our bums and start fighting Roose, we hopefully can catch them with their pants down, which is good. And other important notes is that Chernanog has sent me a free Skull Staff. I kind of negotiated this talking to him because, he got so many gem income from these provinces. And Skull Staff was kind of like the one thing I didn't mind empowering Azats to get Skull Staffs, especially considering how high my death income is. But it's kind of nice that I got one without having to empower. At least in theory, right? Other than that, you kind of see almost all my mages are just Haruspexing or Darknologing, filling out all the site searching. Our gem income is through the roof. And interestingly, you'll note here, I can actually see everyone else's gem income. Because, and this is kind of why I tell people all the time, site search with your holy magic, with your priests. Because the Holy 2 priest here, this high priest, discovered the Oracle's Lair, and now I have the magic graphs for everybody. And so with gem income, I thought I was doing really good until I see Roose. And again, he does have Mother Oak. I don't think he has another global, right? He just has Mother Oak. But his income is preposterous. Like, that's way too much. I thought I was doing fantastic, and I do get kind of, hyper-focused on site searching in most of my games, so I do tend to have a high gem income overall in most games. But this is absolutely insane where he's at. Not really acceptable in my opinion. And so something has to be done, right? Well, if you look at the research, it gets even worse. He is leagues ahead of literally everyone else in this game. Especially my ally Chernanog. I'm still kind of ramping up. I'm going to have less research because a lot of my mages are site searching instead of researching. So that's kind of fair. But Roose not only has this ridiculously high research, but also the ridiculously high gem income. That's too much. If we spot blood, we see that Ulm is trying some blood stuff. Nothing crazy. Dominion is not counted, and I don't think any of the other graphs are counted on that magic site. There are some that will give you then the mundane graphs, but this Oracle's Lair is just magical ones. So kind of at this point, I'm shitting bricks, right? Roose has 2 capitals, has a really strong imprison bless, so they went full greed and got away with it essentially. Not only got away with it, they thrived with their imprisoned pretender. But now they also have this really high gem income, this really high research, and I noticed that they're also getting these Hydromancer independent mages out of this throne. It's not looking good, and more I'm finding I need to go fight Roos. The problem is I kind of drag my feet a lot, as you're seeing here. It's, again, I hadn't played Dominions 5 for a little bit, and then Dominion 6 came out, and this is my first game in a hot minute, so I'm really dragging my feet. I am kind of scared of Roos right now. Anyways, we're going to go skip a few turns forward until we actually fight. Okay, everyone, so now we are going to be on turn 44. We're making a lot of progress on this one video just because not much has happened, right? And so the important things that have happened over the last few turns is essentially that Saramatia has actually turned around and defeated Roos in combat, and they have a major doom stack. Look at this thing. Kind of pushing forward and threatening Tianqi. At this point, I've talked to Saramatia, I've talked to Tirnanog. Tirnanog is the one that's been dragging their feet the most, honestly. I'm ready to go at this point, and we're moving in. We have some stealthy raiders all over the place. Pretty basic kits, nothing fancy. Just kind of repeatable recursive kits, right? We have a minor force kind of poking into Operi. This is hopefully enough to beat the province defense without actually showing the rest of my army. Other important things to note on this turn is that I finally start using some of those gems that we've been so focused on getting, and so we end up empowering Uwitzen over here in Death, and we do still have a Skull Staff we can give him. I'm not sure where it is right now, but it's mostly for him to craft things and summon some other creatures that can be more useful than just Long Dead or something. Because as you notice, our gem income is super high. Death is now my highest income, which is kind of funny. My Glamour income has skyrocketed as well. And also, we've empowered my Pretender in Astral. And at this time, myself and a lot of people I know had no idea what the heck Project Self does. And so that's what we're trying to do now. We're trying to do Project Self. I didn't know anything about it at the time. I do have a video on it now. Some parts of it are outdated, especially the blood magic part. But essentially, I didn't realize that you couldn't bring gems and some other things. But I did test on how it would work in concert with Stealthy Raiders. And so I'm using Project Self onto Boggerwold. And the important thing of Boggerwold is Farai is there doing an attack order, meaning that he should not be stealthed in that turn. So once Exceptional Impressment does appear there, his projection appears there. Right? Include Teleportation still does not work. But once he appears there, they should be able to fight together, meaning Exceptional Impressment can do some buffs onto this Telemark, which is going to be pretty cool, make him extra strong, and just it adds more threat because, okay, you have stealthy Polymarchs running around, right? But now you have an extra threat that you don't know which one is going to have Exceptional Impressment appearing and buffing him up to the 9s to stop whatever counter rating force you have. So that makes it kind of cool and kind of difficult to, respond to these stealthy raids. And I think that's pretty cool. It's definitely not something I planned at the Pretender design screen. But due to, the high income I was having, and as I mentioned before, I don't really have a good use for Astral early on, I thought it would be a great idea. Anyways, I think that is turn 44. We have most of my attack orders. Tirnanog should be attacking as well. Saramatia looks like they're pushing. Things are looking good, in theory, right? So we'll do one more turn and then drop it here. So let's go ahead and look at the next turn. Okay, everyone, and finally we are here on turn, I believe this is 45, and we are back to actually fighting. We had a lot of turns of just kind of gathering gems and not doing too much, just preparing for the future. We're still casting some remote spells, but not as many. We have Exceptional Impressment cast Project Self onto Boggerwold, so let's see how this little combo works. I was kind of testing this live. Look at this little baby projection. How cute. And so, he's just going to be there. He's going to be adding these buffs to Farai. Thankfully, luck gets added to him before the elemental moved him out of place. But now he is still ethereal. You have all of these elementals would otherwise be really fantastic counter raiders. But with exceptional impressment here, there is a chance I survive this due to having luck, regeneration, and body ethereal. So it's kind of the combination that, again, if this was just a polymark, what Roose has sent to counter raid might have been enough, but with exceptional impressment, hopefully I don't lose. I really don't remember the results of these, so I am watching this practically in real time with you guys. There we go. I'm kind of unfortunate he did take a wound, but he still hits ridiculously hard, so I think we're okay. Let's speed this up a little bit. Okay, and things are looking good so far. I do notice he doesn't have shock resistance. Okay. I know myself well, but okay, well, let's go back. He doesn't have water resistance. And so, yeah, unfortunately... shoot. He does end up to battle fright. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Unfortunately, he does end up routing. Probably the water elemental just kept hitting him over and over again. Even with ethereal, some of those hits are going to go in, and they're very high damage. If I could click it, high damage armor piercing. So this is just kind of one of those things where this is what I intended the project self to counter, but I guess it's still not perfected. I think this was the first time I used it, which is really unfortunate. And the air elemental also kind of interrupted the script a lot. So very unfortunate. Oh, actually, what's unfortunate is that I'm on the wrong version. Dang it, I thought I had the right version for these recordings. I guess we'll continue. We'll continue for the rest of this episode, and I'll playtest this exact battle until I get it right for the next upload. It looks like, no, in real life, the Project Self Polymark combo worked as intended. And even though he had 9 mages trying to stop me, and clearly there is a universe where they could have stopped me, it looks like in real life, as the game actually played out, the combination worked. Sometimes that's just how it be, right? Now, for the rest of my battles, I think it should look kind of similar. We kill some. We have a double polemark on this one, Palea. Double polemark there. Tirnanog has actually attacked Roose, but his attack doesn't work because he's relying on those dogs that, as I've mentioned, I don't find them particularly good. They're nice sacreds. I mean, they're nice in that they're sacred, but I don't find them good. They can hold your bless, and if your bless does interesting things, they might be worth it, but they all just die to a single fire elemental in the cold. And somehow won this battle in this version. Jeez, I really have to find the right version of these battles. Okay, okay. And in Pepper Plain, I think this is his throne? No, this is not a throne. So all of these battles just kind of... He did mobilize, like the Roose player did mobilize mages to stop me, but in most cases it was not enough. So, in Pustinia, something happens there with the False Pretender. We have an arena battle, and nobody shows up, so I kind of just walk away with a free champion helmet and a lot of fire gems and some gold, which is cool. Yeah, Operi was actually his fort. Okay, so it's not Pepper Plain, it's Operi. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the fort with the rest of my units. We do have a Great Sword of Sharpness on Pelorus in case he does some thugging thing. We have Arrow of the Western Wind. I'm kind of thinking, okay, this is really high precision, high range spell. Maybe I can interrupt the script. Maybe if there's a like a singular mage or something. We're moving in our assassins who can scale walls, which are really good. You know, they have the Bow of War, not even a true shot bow. A Bottle of Living Water, the Boots of the Spider, so that he can scale walls, just kind of kill what's inside over time. I think that's going to be a good combination. We've got our resistances being painted on our units because their stats are already pretty good, but I really don't know what Roose is going to do. We do get a ping on his capital, and we note that although we elf the crap out of him this turn, honestly, he still kind of looks like Roose. I don't see a lot of success in Tirnanog's side. So I'm not sure if Roose successfully defended himself against Tirnanog's elfing, or if Tirnanog just didn't do it. I'm not sure. Sarmasha's also been kind of just chilling over here at Midge Fens. They've not really moved out too much, which is unfortunate. So it's now that I've gone in, and I should be drawing this Roosian attention. I feel like the other two players in this war were kind of slowing down for some reason. I'm not sure. Well, regardless, we took a bunch of provinces right here on the first turn, and we're going in this cave to clear out the caves because this is where I'm assuming all of his research is coming from. All these cave research provinces. Outside of that, I don't really see much else happening in the world, and so that gives me the opportunity to just focus on continuing to attack into Roose. I do Twiceborn Owitsin after he's been empowered because now he is a special death to Camazotz and he might be able to do different things. But essentially, I need to find a way to use these death gems because I just keep getting more death gems. And this is again, this all started because I found a singular province with Zotz, D1 Zotz. And this is why I tell everyone that you should really look into your indie mages and site search heavily. Maybe you don't want to do remotes as much as I have this game. Depends on your age, right? In early age, I would say for sure do remotes. In the late age, maybe not. I'm not sure. There's math out there somewhere that says whether I'm right or wrong in saying this, but definitely grab independent mages to search paths that you don't have, even if it is just at level 1. It doesn't have to be as thorough as my level 9 straight searching was. Anyways, I think with the opening of this war and the famous Mekonian elfing happening, I'm going to take a step back and prepare for the next episode on turn 46. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.